But the message here is, if you want to do something more, if you want to tell stories, powerful stories, if you want to make any difference to your audience, if you want to move them, you need each other. Because that's the way it comes through the tube. It doesn't come through the tube separately, usually. You need each other. And it means that you have to learn a whole new game of storytelling in teams. And storytelling, as we'll tell you over the next hour, involves some very basic elements since the beginning of time. When people gathered around the campfire, they leaned in and they told stories in a certain fashion, and we are hardwired to this day to follow some of these rules, I think. And it takes two. Let's look at some tape.
The people of Central Washington count on a few days being over 100 degrees every July. Wheat farmers out here count on about 10 inches of rain every year. They usually get it. And there's a small town out here named Mansfield. Driving through town takes exactly that long. And things are pretty predictable here too.
Bread dough will be here Thursday.
Rick the grocer knows every customer. He knows every car on Main Street.
The blue pickups, the Zellums. Ethel Poole, she's probably just about ready to go to work in Chelan.
Lynn, the cafe owner, knows her customers so well she could start their order before they arrive.
Harry Beard, and it's usually a hot cake and bacon or fried one egg with hash browns and toast. Or Tom Poole, which is a ham and cheese omelet every Saturday morning, like clockwork.
That's why it kind of surprised everyone when a stranger from the big city showed up. One parking meter, the only meter in 7,200 square miles.
Just to have a little fun.
Tom Snell, the county's road boss, bought the meter as a prank.
It cost me $50, but it's set here on the street ever since.
Tom knows most out-of-towners are not dumb enough to fall for the parking meter.
Well, he's going to turn
Oh,
clear around.
shoot. There's a typical response, though.
But you see, they don't have to be.
I think we got him now.
This victim was from Canada.
It's a way to make money, I guess, for a small town.
And when there aren't a lot of visitors, Tom includes his friends. Friends like Harold Beard. That's Harold's truck over there. That's Harold.
Give me a ticket here, for crying out loud. Not supposed to get a ticket in this town.
The meter's not just Tom's joke. Shortly after breakfast, we saw Rick the grocer nail Floyd Avenell's car.
It's not light, but it does get moved quite frequently.
Yeah, I put it in front of the mayor's car.
I put it in front of the sheriff's car.
There goes Lydia, the lady who owns the tavern.
It's kind of fun.
Now you'd think sooner or later someone would get sick of it all and complain about Tom's parking meter to the mayor.
I don't think it'd do him any good.
Why is that?
I'm the mayor.
So maybe small towns are predictable. But if you go to Mansfield, don't be surprised if they treat you, well, like they've known you all your life.
Every town's got its way.
In fact, you can almost count on it.
Time expired.
How about an IOU?
You don't even have a penny?
I don't. See, I'm a farmer's wife.
John Larson, what's next?
We're trying to work on a fire hydrant on wheels.
Como News 4, Mansfield.
By the way, just as a way of a brief introduction to my friend Mark here, as you probably read in the bio, he's chief photographer at Cairo. He used to work at Como, Region 10 Photographer of the Year 3 times. I think he missed being National Photographer of the Year by 1.2 years in a row. The 7 years we were at Como, he led the staff. We were Station of the Year, I think, 3 or 4 times and runner-up the other times. I think I've learned more about reporting from this man than just about anybody. And much more importantly, I've learned more about how to be who I'm supposed to be and how I'm supposed to go about my work, which is filled with passion and, most importantly, paying attention to the grandness of life, the small moments that piece together our existence. So anyway, let's give it up for Mark Morache.
Well, don't forget that those years that we won Station of the Year 3 times, we were runner-up 4 times. John Larson was working there too, and don't ever discount the fact that, you know, a reporter is really your best teammate and really can be one of the best photographers on the staff. We used to have a joke at Como that John Larson, you know, when we'd get that results sheet back at the end of the quarter with the regional results on it, John always had more points than anybody because usually he was working with 3 or 4 photographers. And oh look, John got a first and John got a second, and he was bucking for photographer of the year. So, in our minds, he was clearly the photographer of the year. You were going to talk about surprises.
Absolutely. In storytelling, again, over the next hour, we'll talk about 3 things. And I like to call them the 3 great horses, the 3 great engines. And you can either ride the horses or ignore them. Either way, they're still there, and if you get on them, your story will have momentum, interest, the ability to captivate. One of them is surprise, basic element of surprise. Bob Dodson sort of invented the genre on TV for many of us. That's where I learned about it. He mentioned it last night. But in this story, there's 3 basic surprises. Anybody know what they are? Real quickly, just yell them out. Guy's the mayor, the fact that the meter's there, and it moves. Very simple, 1, 2, 3. All right? The one thing I want you to take away from today is that all 3 of those surprises, I never say them. All right? They all happen in the videotape. The guy says, well, I'm the mayor. We say, you don't think they'd be dumb enough, they don't have to be, and it moves. All right? And then one day a stranger rolled in from town, and you see it. Okay? That's very deliberate, and the reason is this. Television is experiential. The more experiential you can make it, the more you can let the audience participate in the jokes, the sadness, the drama, the anger, the more they're going to pay attention. Now, think about it. This sets up a wholly different relationship with your photographer, because all of a sudden, the energy of what's going on has to occur on tape, and it has to be placed in the story perfectly. And the way you do this is talk about it. And in this particular story, we literally said, what are our surprises in this story as we drove to it? We said 1, 2, 3, okay. And then we waited to try to somehow see if it was going to happen or be illustrated. And that takes deliberate communication. It's an action, because otherwise it just won't happen. Sir?
And it wasn't just communicating that day. It's a planned, practiced repetition, a consistent communication. Every time you get in the car, every time you go on a story. That wasn't the first time we talked together. In fact, we talked together so much that sometimes we don't even have to say anything. One person will just start saying a few words, and you don't have to finish that sentence. I know exactly where you're going with that. I like to talk about the juice that's in the story. And when you think of juice, you think about like that stuff that you squeeze out of an orange, and it's really the essence of something. But also when you think of juice, you think about like when they're about to fry Ted Bundy, they're talking about turning on the juice, right? The electricity. So when I think of juice, I think about that stuff that's just, it's in there. It's the essence of the subject that you're shooting. But also there's got to be some electricity. There's got to be some energy. And for us, the juice in here, well, we had the 3 jokes, but it really was, what was the reality? Because they really didn't move the parking meter all that much. I think they were so pleased as punch just to have a local TV crew there that they were just beaming over themselves. But it was those little moments. It was Rick the grocer noticing, all the people going down the street that were really telling. And for me, that was the juice. That was the energy. And John and I, without even talking about it, both tapped into that. Both thought, oh, yeah, you know what? The cafe owner, I bet she knows everybody's orders before they walk in. Let's get her to demonstrate it. We didn't get her to say that. She didn't say, oh, yeah, I know everybody's orders. She just did it. She said, oh, yeah, there's Harry Beard. It's usually hotcakes and a sausage. And Rick the grocer. And let me just show you this one moment here. Here's Rick the grocer. Ooh, you know what? This is teamwork. You don't see it, but John is out of the frame here, and he's asking the guy to point out the cars on Main Street. I'm there and I'm thinking, okay, I've got one. Now, you know what? I bet I could go outside and get that same shot through the window for the next one that he points out. And so I turn my back to him, hightail it, and John, instead of thinking, oh, what's he going to do, go shoot like a slug on the sidewalk or something? What's Mark thinking now? Sees me run around to the window, and he's stalling the guy. He's kind of doing this little vamp. And he's, you know, as soon as he sees that I'm in place, he says, now who's that? And the car goes by.
By the way, one thing to remember is what we were actually doing in the grocery store is trying to get details, and we were trying to, he actually would order groceries based on the people in the town. You know, he would order specific kind of bread for Ethel and that, and we thought it would show a small town. Well, it kind of didn't work, but the next time we went into the cafe, we did the exact same thing as the grocery store shelf. We started asking whether or not they knew if they made orders for the people. So basically, we were trolling for a detail. And the whole time we were shooting the story, we're basically trolling for moments like this. And if you keep your line out long enough, all of a sudden a fish will come up and bite it.
And when you get something like this, where the car goes by, and the reflection, and the timing, and it's perfect, and it's all I can do to hold that camera steady because I want to go, yes, 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 oh, thank you, Lord. Because, you know, you go through that because you do that. I'm just like everybody else. You know, I get excited when stuff happens. You try it, you think, maybe it could happen, and it doesn't always happen, but when it does, man, it's sweet. Man, and then you got to use it.
Where's that swing shot? Is it after this?
You might have to back up into the story.
Let me show one thing before it goes away. Remember the swing shot? Yeah, okay, I'm backing up.
Yeah, way back. There it is.
All right. Here's a little swing shot right here. And things are pretty predictable here, too. It's a great little daily life shot. This is it right here. We're actually up on top of a hill right here, looking down a fairly steep hill. And Mark took the shot, and all of a sudden I see him runs down about 70 yards down this little hill. If you look right up in the left-hand corner of the swing set, right up in the left, there's his wireless mic up there. He took it once, and he didn't like it because it just wasn't quite sweet enough, so he ran down, he went up that thing, he hung it up there, he lit it, he went back, he took a 1-second shot. And it's that type of love affair with the small moments that brings them to life.